Today, we'll be discussing two topics. The first is digital ID. Should Britain embrace the many benefits that come with it, or should we be concerned? Are Brits ready for this kind of government control, which most of the Western world seems to have happily adopted? And will it help bring down the rise in crime rates, in particular in London, which is going to be our second topic of the day? London's crime wave. Is there indeed a London crime wave, or are certain right-wing media platforms deliberately exaggerating London's crime rates with the intention of stirring up division and hate towards London's Mayor Sadiq Khan, the so-called woke police force, and people from certain ethnic communities? Joining me today to discuss these two topics is Labour councillor Sebastian Salek and businessman and political commentator Adam Brooks. Welcome, gentlemen, to the show. So let's start with digital ID. Recent polls show that 40% of British people want it and 60% don't want it. Now, you're one of those 60%, Adam. But most Western countries are fine with it. So India, Singapore, France, Sweden, Germany, South Korea, Israel, Dubai, China, Japan, they've all embraced it. And I've been to Japan, I've been to Singapore, and they're very well organised, very safe countries. So why do you think Brits like you are so cautious about embracing digital ID?
We are really the home of freedoms over the last few centuries. We're a culture that, you know, we've always trusted our governments, but over the last 5 or 6 years since COVID, I'm one of the founding members of Together Declaration. We fought back against vaccine passports. Now, that was a QR code society. I've got a pub where they was talking about having to scan your way just to come in and get a drink, you know, for a virus that wasn't much worse than a cold for most people. So, you know, I was someone in 2019, I actually tweeted this, and people try and bring it up like it's some gotcha, but it's not. I think we should have had ID cards for voting. So in 2019, when we was trying to fight off the threat of Jeremy Corbyn, I went to go and vote in the 2019 election, and the guy in front of me couldn't vote because someone had give his address and used his vote. So I think for things like voting, an actual card, a physical card, was fine. But what really scares me, and most people that I've spoke to, I don't think I've spoke to anyone in my circles that backs digital ID, is that a centralised digital ID that has everything from your pensions to your benefits to your driving licence, your whole life.
How many vaccine boosts you've had.
Exactly that. Your whole life, your medical records in one app, for me is terrifying, because you've mentioned there India. I think it was 1 billion people, 800 million to a billion people had their details hacked by hackers. So if they can hack into one portal that has your whole life in, that's terrifying.
But what about somewhere like Japan and Singapore, very well organised, safe countries? Do you think that digital ID has been part of that, or do you think it's more like the culture of the people?
I think the cultures are different. They're very organised. They're completely different sort of people to us. But we now have, and Sebastian will disagree with me, I think we have the most authoritarian government we've had in decades. I do not trust them. And the last thing I want is for them to have everything that I have, you know, all my details in one place, and that they can go snooping for no reason. Look, I put my details on X, formerly Twitter, and people go, oh yeah, but you've registered that with an ID. Yeah. But Twitter is a private company that doesn't have the ability to turn me off. Yeah. What I fear, and what many people fear, I was protesting in Epping yesterday. I'm obviously anti-establishment in many of my views. Now, if we were saying China, I couldn't get away with that because they could just turn me off. They could stop me travelling on the underground because it's a social credit system. They could stop me, you know, if I was getting benefits, stop my benefits, my pension.
They haven't done that in other countries.
No.
China is a very extreme example, but places like Germany and Dubai, they haven't done that.
But that's not to say that that won't happen in the future. You know, this is, look, digital ID for me is a digital leash around your neck, which it might never be pulled. But if it is pulled, you're suddenly not in a leash, you're in a digital prison. If I can't travel, if I can't tap my card to go somewhere, I can't go and protest. If I can't, if I don't shut up about my loathing of Keir Starmer, maybe I won't get my benefits if I'm on benefits. That is what people are scared about.
You've raised some really good points. Sebastian, you're one of the 40% who would be happy to embrace digital ID. But for me personally, I'm with Adam on this in terms of what happened during COVID. So although we had some really tough restrictions, it wasn't monitored the same way as it was monitored in France, for instance. So they were only allowed to go out 3 times a day, for instance. And because they had this digital ID system in place, the police were able to check how often they were able to check off each time they went out. Whereas in Britain, a policeman would come up to you, he'd say, how long have you been out for? You'd lie and say 2 minutes, you've been out for 3 hours sunbathing or whatever. And he can't check up on it. And so I'm personally frightened that another COVID comes along and then people will use the digital ID system to target people like me rather than people who, I'm sure Adam would be happy to have digital ID if it was targeting illegal migrants and criminals. But it's going to be people like me and you that are going to be the ones who are controlled by it. Do you agree with that?
Well, let's tackle these one point at a time. The polling is a really interesting one. What you find, though, when you break it down and ask specific questions around digital ID is people start to become much more in favour. So if you ask them, should we use digital ID for right-to-work checks, for example, even Reform voters, 80% of them say that's a good idea. If you ask them about right-to-rent, you've got it in the 70s and 80s for every political party. So there's overwhelming support from voters on using digital ID for those things, which is what they will be used for. I think we have to be really careful when we talk about this, not to paint this picture of a dystopian future where you're blocked from protesting or you have benefits cut off. This is really just an app that has your name, maybe your address, and a photo. That's all it is.
But, things are getting dystopian already.
In what way?
Like, for instance, people putting out a tweet gets you arrested and put into prison for 1 year. Is that not dystopian? If someone had told you that 20 years ago, that would be happening in Britain, you would not believe it.
So we're veering off topic here, but what I will say about that is, I don't think it is, but let me explain why. Lucy Connolly, that was inciting racial violence, which is a crime in its own right. That has nothing to do with ID cards, which is what we're debating today.
She didn't really, did she? Because no one acted on her tweet, and they proved that. And also, she said, "For all I care" at the end of it, which is pretty obvious that it was an angry throwaway remark.
Well, the judge disagreed with you, Adam, and I would as well.
Judge, if you're tweeting,
that's what's dystopian about it.
300,000 people saw it in a time of unrest.
But the judge
and you're
also
saying
said that
go and burn down a migrant hotel.
No, she didn't say that. She didn't say go and do it. She didn't give instructions. She said do it for all I care. That's a big difference. But
anyway, let's get back to digital ID.
Okay.
So I would give you the good news, which is that it really is just a simple bit of tech. We live in a world
that can
where
be expanded.
It can be expanded,
right?
And as could anything.
Right.
Think about all of the data that the government has on you at the moment in their various databases, whether it's the Home Office or the NHS. They know your name, they know your place of birth, they know your parents' occupation. No, and neither would this be either. We're talking about your name, maybe your address, and a photo of you. That is it. But if an authoritarian government came in, wanted to cause havoc, they have everything at their disposal to be able to do it right now without digital ID.
No, but it's not. But one thing I will say, so the online safety bill was brought in last year, wasn't it? The online safety bill, or was it this year?
I think it's this year. I think it's this year.
The online safety bill was meant to bring in, and again, your government sold it to people, or tried to sell it to people as protecting children from online harms. We all, look, I'm a parent, you're a parent as well, we would all want to protect our kids online. But then we realised that things were getting censored. Anti-immigration topics were being censored as well. And Barry Gardiner, your own MP, that we both worked with on GB News, was forced to admit that it was also being used to censor and monitor adults. So there is a creep. There is an online safety bill for kids that is suddenly morphing into monitoring maybe people like me. So you can understand why people would not trust Keir Starmer and this government with a digital ID, because that creep, as you said, is the danger. We don't trust this government.
Well, you don't trust this government.
I think you might want to look at a lot of the polling.
Adam, what
at
if
the moment.
reform came in and
Yeah.
they brought
Look,
in digital ID? I mean, I still wouldn't be for it, actually.
So no government is your friend. And I say this all the time. I'm friends with Reform MPs. I work closely. I don't advise them, but they ask me my opinion on many things. They're not. I'm not naive to think that once they're in government, and they will be in government, that suddenly I'm in a great position, because you can't trust any government. A government looks after...
Government changes over years.
Yes.
What Labour was once isn't what Labour is now.
I believe, from speaking to Lee Anderson and speaking to people within Reform, they do not want digital ID, and they are pushing back hard on this. But the danger is, if Keir Starmer creeps this in now and rushes this through, and it is embedded in so many of our institutions, authorities, whatever, that we will not be able to reverse it. It will cost too much.
It won't, yes, I've heard this.
Why will it cost too much?
To reverse it. Because suddenly you're changing systems to rely on a digital ID. Look, some people are not tech savvy, and I'm not demeaning old people at all in this. There's many old people that struggle still to pay, for parking rather than putting the coins in. I've just had a problem. We're in a North London road now. I haven't paid for my parking because the tech wasn't working. It wouldn't accept my card.
It's because you're old, Adam.
Right. Yeah. It
But that's no reason to say tech is bad, let's not do it.
But
tech is the direction of travel.
Look, tech is the direction of travel, but tech does not always mean things get better. Look, let's look at cars. How hard is it to put a key in a car and turn it on?
We're a long way from digital
I've
ID
got a
here.
button.
Let's bring it back on course.
I've got a button.
But since we did
Let's
that,
bring this back on course.
Since we did that, more cars are being stolen because it's easy to hack. And that's why I'm going back to digital ID, because a progression of technology doesn't always make things better. It makes things easier to...
It makes things easier,
to be
exactly.
hacked. No,
you look at
it
the way
makes
you
things easier to be
integrate
hacked.
with government services. Look at if you want to integrate with or do anything with HMRC, if you want to do anything with the NHS, if you do anything, get your birth certificate. I had to order a birth certificate the other day. It was posted to me as a piece of paper.
Right.
That's like something from the Victorian times.
That's not from
'cause you're a
Victorian
youngster.
times.
Why shouldn't we have that on a screen,
I
on an
remember
app like
Post.
everything else?
Look, at the end of the day, though, is this was sold to us, and Keir Starmer and all these Labour ministers did all these news shows and said this was to stop illegal immigration. Let's put the cards on the table now. They've dropped that because it was proven that it would not stop one migrant. So we do not trust them because they
that's my next
gaslight us
question.
and they lie to us. This digital ID would not stop one person crossing the channel. At the end of the day, if I wanted to take...
That's my question. Do you think this will reduce illegal immigration to this country? Because Adam doesn't think so. I don't think so.
So the honest answer is I don't really care. Because I think the real benefit of digital ID lies in the other use cases outside of illegal immigration.
So you don't care for the main reason that your Prime Minister and your party pushed this up?
Yeah.
Right, okay. Well, that's on camera.
Yeah, no,
Keir Starmer.
I'll happily say that because I think the benefits of digital ID stretch far beyond illegal immigration.
So would it stop one migrant, do you think?
I think it would act
In what way?
as a deterrent to come over because at the moment it is easy to get around doing safety
It's
checks,
not. No,
get around
it's
doing
not.
checks.
It's not.
What the other issue with
I'm
this,
a businessman, and I would check their NI number and I would send their passport if they were foreign to my accountant to do the relevant checks. Now, why would a digital ID? I mean, that makes no. For someone like me that does not employ illegal immigrants, that makes no difference.
So I'll give
If
you
I'm
one
a Turkish
example.
barbers,
I'll give you one example,
or-
Adam. Compliance. Even if you want to do the right thing, your good faith, you want to
Yeah.
make sure that people have the right to work. Surveys have been done on this. 80% of businesses got a compliance question wrong, which means that the system is too complicated. If clever business people can't understand it, clearly
Do
it
you
needs
think
simplifying.
car washes
And therefore,
and
if
these barbers
you can
bothered about
simplify it,
compliance?
if you can make it one app, one test to onboard someone,
one second,
isn't that better? As a
will these
business owner,
barbers
wouldn't you
and will
prefer
these car
that?
washes-
And don't forget
asking
the
for
vape
someone's
shops.
And the
passport,
vape
or ask
shop.
for someone's visa, or ask for someone's birth certificate, or ask for someone's driving license.
is that
Isn't that
relevant to
really
these-
cumbersome on you? And what's
No.
more, isn't that expensive for you?
No.
Almost a quarter of businesses pay another company to
So,
have this done. Couldn't you take them
you're
out of the
deflecting.
loop? Couldn't you take them out of the loop, stick with digital ID, which is easy to use, it's
Right.
cheap to use, and it's going to boost business in
One
Britain?
question. The barbers, the vape shops, the car washes, are they bothered about compliance if they are just hiring illegal workers?
Probably not.
How does it stop that?
No.
So these are the main employers of illegal workers in this country. How does it solve it? It doesn't solve it.
No,
at all.
I don't
so
think
you're
it
just
tackles
saying
that
you want to make
aspect.
it easier for me. But if
No,
someone
I want to
comes
make
to
it
me,
easier for anybody who hires
All right,
people to
okay.
do the right
But
thing.
So you're saying
and to save them money
you're
as well.
saying that fine, it's not going to sort out immigration. That's a separate subject.
Yeah, I
but
really
it's
think
just
it's
going
the
to make
least
life
interesting
easier.
part of this.
Okay, Adam, do you think that at least it's going to help reduce crime?
no, how? If it's not, if it's
I'm not for it. I'm asking
if
you.
it's not reducing illegal immigration, we've seen a lot of crimes emanate from people that shouldn't be here. So they're still going to come over.
It's true. And France's crime rates shot
Right,
up.
so-
They've got more migrants than ever, and they've got digital ID. It hasn't
Unless
helped
they're
crime.
trying to sell this as a digital ID that they then use for facial recognition everywhere, and then we are going down a dystopian path like China, where anywhere I walk, someone can put my face in a box and go, that's Adam Brooks, bank number, blah, blah, passport number, this is where he lives,
Frightening.
this is what he does for work, this is how much tax he's paid. Oh, last week he had hemorrhoids, last week he had that, right? That will all be on some computer system. Yeah. Why should someone be able to access that if I've not done anything wrong at the end of the day? And that is the danger.
I completely agree with you. And the good news is, and we can all breathe a huge sigh of relief around the table, that's not what digital ID is.
But
the
it
reality,
could
though,
be.
we've said it once already, all of that data is already held by you. So if you're concerned about that, then that's a separate campaign to fight. There is a certain arm of the state that knows about your hemorrhoids. There's another state of the art.
dear.
I don't have hemorrhoids, by the way.
That's getting clipped.
I don't know where that comes
There's
from. but-
another arm of the state that knows
look,
about how much tax you paid last
right,
year.
so
it's all there.
Let's go back to COVID days and Canada and Justin Trudeau, or Trudeau, however you say his name. For the protesters in the lorries and the trucks that tried to shut down, I forget what city it was, over the COVID restrictions, they had their bank accounts frozen. This is the sort of dystopian behaviour that our governments have employed over the last 5 years.
Sorry, our governments?
No.
Which country was this?
Western
Okay,
government.
so this, just to be clear, this didn't happen in
That
Britain.
is an ally.
But
And
it didn't
is an
happen
ally.
in Britain,
That
did
is
it?
that is someone.
No, it didn't happen because we didn't have digital
Right.
ID.
That is a leader now that our government is cozying up to. So look, these are Western.
He's not the Prime
countries.
Minister anymore.
No.
Nobody's cozying
No.
up to, except for Katy Perry.
Okay.
Nobody is cozying up to Justin
The guy
Trudeau
I
right
meant
now.
was the former Bank of England chief that our Prime Minister is cozying up to.
Oh, he was terrible.
Who
Right.
wasn't the Prime Minister of Canada during COVID,
No.
and who didn't deal
But
with
this
the
is a
truckers.
Western.
And
This is a Western government.
Okay, so
that
we're
is
talking
an
about
ally.
two different people
So
here.
this is for the audience to realise. This is the sort of dystopian path that we could be going down.
oh yeah, we
Because-
could become China.
right.
There are lots of dystopian paths we
Right.
could go down. The
Right.
good news
So-
is we are not going down
But
those.
what-
We are talking
what is
about
to stop us
Why
what's
are you
going
happened.
so
down that?
sure that we're
Yeah,
not
what
going
is to
down that?
stop us
Because
going
the
down that
evidence
path?
shows that this government is controlling a lot of what we
Will
do.
you
Why do
explain
not...
to me, what is you are Keir Starmer, you're sat in 10 Downing Street,
Yeah.
you are trying to win the next election. What is the political advantage of introducing
I'll tell you.
a mass surveillance state in
I will
Britain?
tell you, control. To control your people, and that is it. Really, control.
How
Control
how?
the wrong people
Government.
as well. Look, again, if they were
It-
using it to control crime
Yeah.
and illegal immigration, we'd all be for it. But it's not. It's like motorists. It's the same thing. They're always targeting
Okay.
motorists. We're just going to be like human versions of our cars.
This
where
idea,
they're targeting and following
let's
us
be
wherever
really
we go.
honest. This idea is about two things. It's about proving you have the right to work, and it's about proving you have the right to rent. Those are two things you already have to do.
To begin with.
Yes, but-
that's where it starts.
Of course,
I'm
but-
happy you're complaining
But
about
then let's
getting a
bring it
letter in
in.
the post.
Let's bring it
big
in.
deal. Let's
What-
just get a letter
This
in
is
the
what is
post.
being proposed.
Why
you
would
can't
I-
just say, oh, but I'm scared it might do this, because it's not doing that.
Yeah.
If they suddenly
No,
say,
we're
oh yeah,
scared
no,
it is
now we
going
want to.
But we have evidence of what happened during COVID, of how controlling this government can be once the
This
people
government
surrender.
wasn't in power during COVID.
No,
And
it's
that's
the same
even-
thing.
that's even
Tories-
scarier because the
Labour
Tories-
wanted
Come on.
Labour wanted harder lockdowns for longer.
Yeah, I
And that's what
wanted
we've got
harder
now.
lockdowns.
Oh my goodness.
Well, then you didn't look at the
My
science. But
goodness.
let's just.
I only need to look at the graves, Adam, of 300,000 people.
They died of old
died
age.
during
They died of old
COVID.
age.
It was nothing to do with lockdowns.
Okay,
Lockdowns
we're now
made it
into
worse.
pure conspiracy
No.
theory.
No, no,
territory.
no, I'm telling you,
We are-
they
this
died
is
of
another-
old
this is another
Those
debate.
people
Territory.
died
No.
of old age.
If you're telling me COVID was a bad
Hey,
cold, go and tell that
Excuse
to
me.
the victims,
Excuse me.
to the families
Sebastian,
who died.
Sebastian.
Restrictions didn't
Sebastian,
work.
do you know what the average age was for people that died of COVID?
Tell me.
The average age when people die, 85.
Yeah, it was in the
People
80s.
died.
And what's your conclusion there?
That
We should not. You
lockdowns
should have
didn't work.
put the vulnerable. You should have kept them out of society for a while. looked after those and let the working people go out, young,
Sebastian,
healthy people go out and carry on. The
science
economy was good.
and you
Children
said average
suffered.
age, so
Children
younger people
suffered.
died as well.
Hardly any.
People who were immunosuppressed.
And so people die of flu every year, but no one talks about it. This was flu. This was just flu with a different name.
COVID was flu.
Yes,
co-flu. That is deep conspiracy theory
It's not.
territory.
It was a type of flu.
Fiercely insulting
It was a type
to people
of flu.
who lost loved ones
Sebastian,
as a result
What about
of
people who lost
coronavirus.
loved ones to
Please
committed
don't talk to me about
suicide as a
science.
result of the lockdowns? What about those people? What about how people had lost their businesses, how children, teenagers killed themselves also because they couldn't
All
cope?
terrible. Every suicide is a tragedy. You're not going to catch me defending that.
Sebastian,
People
The whole
die of flu
COVID
every
was a
single
catastrophe.
year. It was a flu.
The reality
It was a bad
was
flu.
a
Lockdowns
disease we've
contributed
never
to
seen
more
before.
deaths than
Bad flu.
COVID itself, because not only did it mess up the NHS, but people died of other things because the NHS was solely focused on COVID.
So how many people died?
Hold on. Don't do me with numbers.
Well, I'm asking you for numbers, because if you're saying this number is higher than this one, I want to know
I've
which
come in
numbers
here
you're
to
talking
talk
about.
about
how many people
No,
died of flu in
Let's just pause on this, Adam,
1999?
because you've just said
Lockdowns.
You've just
I've made
said more people died as a
because of
result of
lockdowns,
lockdown.
correct.
Okay, so how many people died as a result of lockdowns?
I don't hundreds and hundreds
And
of
then
thousands.
how many people died as a result of COVID?
In this country?
Yes.
I think, what was it, about 100,000 they attributed to? But you do know, if you got knocked over by a bus, right,
Adam,
and
don't
you had
start talking
COVID,
about
They
buses. I'm
diagnosed you with
I'm
COVID.
asking you
Yeah,
a
I
simple
know.
This is a
question.
fact.
I'm
You're,
asking you a
you're
simple
talking to
question.
someone that campaigned against the restrictions
Me
and
too,
that
I
put
did.
every
You
bit of
have just
science
told
out
me,
there.
you've just produced to me two numbers, and you've said
Later,
one number is
Sebastian,
bigger than the other.
Later, Sebastian, I will tweet you with
I don't
what
need you
we
to
put
tweet
out.
to me. If you're going to say
Lockdowns-
something in
lockdowns
front of a
kill-
camera, Adam,
yeah.
you have to be prepared to back it up in front of that camera.
Lockdowns
Right
kill
now,
more
what you're
people.
telling me is I don't have the numbers. Isn't that
No,
true?
not on me, because I've come in here for digital ID.
So you've quoted some numbers
Yeah, he
that
hasn't
you
got
have
his
no
look.
idea
We're
about.
talking about something else right now, but
But
I
look,
know that
one-
COVID was absolutely blown out of
So
proportion.
can you quote the numbers,
and people
Kezia?
admit,
If you're going to stand by Adam,
no,
can you
because
give me
they
the
just
numbers?
kept saying everybody's dying
So
of
you've
COVID.
both just thrown facts at me, and you can
Right,
produce
one
not
second.
a modicum
One
of
second.
data to
One
back
second.
it up.
Sebastian, if I was hit by a bus and I was riddled with COVID as a young person, would I have gone down as a COVID death? Yes or no?
I have no idea,
Yes.
but
Yes,
you
I
are
would. I
wriggling
can answer
slyly
that for
away
yes.
from the
No,
question,
one
Adam, and I'm
second.
not going to
That-
let you go
that
because
is
you
a
have
fact.
produced
That
two
is a
groups of
fact.
people: those who
Anyone
died
that tested
as a result of
positive-
COVID
anyone
and
that
those who
tested-
died as a result of
anyone that
lockdowns. And you
tested
cannot tell me
positive for
how
COVID-
many people are in
Sebastian,
either group.
I
Sebastian.
can't believe you wanted to lock down harder and for longer than what we went through. I'm just shocked
So-
about
so one-
it.
one thing,
you
Kezia-
probably have a very nice job or something
Yeah.
where you don't have to
Exactly.
go out and work and look after children. Maybe you have a nice house with a garden also. There's a lot of people that were stuck for almost 2 years
I
in a
completely
council
understand that.
flat.
I
Yeah, but they
completely
weren't going to
understand
die
how
from
hard
it. But
lockdown
they
was.
weren't going to
Of
die. It was
course I
a
do.
young mum
But
with
the
her
important
children.
thing in
Excuse
those
me,
5
there was a
years-
young mother, young father with their young children who never would have died of this flu.
Right.
And they were doing it to protect a tiny minority, and that tiny minority could have stayed in, not gone out, and let everybody get back to work and just live normally and let
suggest
the
we move on
economy
from
carry
this.
on.
One second.
Oh,
There's
sorry,
one
I'm-
counter.
yeah,
There's one
we
counter
shouldn't.
here.
Go on,
Sweden.
go on, Adam. Let's have it.
Sweden.
Yeah.
They didn't lock down like we locked down.
No.
Why did not everyone die?
I don't know. Sweden is a
Right.
very different
I'll tell you
society.
what.
that.
It's not a proxy.
I'll tell you
protective.
why.
Yeah.
Let's move on from this. But the last thing I will say is
Lockdowns
people died
killed.
because of COVID.
You got a
Lockdown
nice house and a
saved
nice garden,
lives.
I know
I
it.
wish I did at the time. I
People-
wish I did.
people died
I lived
because
in a
of
wreck. It was a
Did people
horrible
die
place.
because
to
of
live.
lockdowns? Yes or no? Did people
Yeah,
die?
yeah,
But
of course
they
they
don't
did.
matter, Adam.
course
Only
they
the
did.
85-year-old
People
plus
died because of lockdowns and people died because of COVID. But you can't tell me.
I can't give you numbers off the top of my
so
head.
then how
Okay,
can I attach
right.
any credibility to what you
We're
say?
going on to a new topic
Let's do
here.
it.
The segue's gone from COVID to crime. It shouldn't have. Digital ID,
Yeah.
okay, and crime. So, is there a crime wave in London, or is it being exaggerated? Now, personally, as a woman, I feel a lot less safe in London. However, and I've got the facts here, when I look at the official London crime statistics, and this is comparing it from 1995, which is probably before you were born,
I wish.
domestic burglary down, vehicle-related theft down, but that's largely attributed to improved security measures like alarms and immobilizers, household theft down, criminal damage down, but most importantly, homicide is down. So the numbers of murders in the first 9 months of 2025 is 60% lower than it was in 2003. that's something to celebrate. However, one thing did go up, and that was sexual-related crimes has really shot up. But, you know, Adam, when you hear these statistics, it does give some context, doesn't it? So do you think that a lot of this that we're hearing about London is maybe fear-mongering to cause division? Even though I gave you those facts.
No, look. At the end of the day, over the last 10 years, crime in London has spiralled out of control.
Well, not according to this.
No, in the last 10 years.
This is from 1995.
Right, in the last 10 years, knife crime is up about 52%.
But homicide is down.
Right, yeah. But we've got better medical, the 20-odd years of medical practice and better hospitals and better ways of dealing with gunshots and knife incidents. A knife crime up 52%, a 33% rise in violent crime, 53% rise in rape. There is a rape reported in London every hour. Now, I'm bringing up 2 daughters. I live on the edge of London. I go into London a lot. I've got family that still live there. I've got business interests in London. That is horrific. For any Western city to have a rape reported every hour, there's a massive problem there. Gun crime is up 30% in the last 10 years. Yeah. Robbery is up 58% in the last 10 years. When you keep going up and up and up, at some point, it's got to level off or come down, right? So it's all right saying, oh, yeah, look, he's got his act together, Sadiq Khan, things are coming down. It's been an epidemic of crime. It has to level off at some point. It has to come down, okay? And look, the media spotlight is on this man, and the media spotlight is on our police as well. Of course, they're going to be on more things now. I have witnessed some terrible things in London. Machetes pulled out on the streets. You know, every day we're seeing clips of gangs having sword fights on the streets of London. It's every day on the internet, and you can't hide the internet. But a lot of things are not getting reported.
I haven't reported. So my own personal experience, and I live in one of the nicest boroughs in London, most expensive boroughs in London, just to give it some context. And I was sexually assaulted in front of my 10-year-old in the library at 4 p.m. A library with kids about.
So we've got
and
a
I've
sex
had
crime
2
epidemic.
stabbings outside my front door. Yeah. And again, if this is happening in my area, I dread to think what's happening in some other areas of London. And I'm not reporting it. I just think, what's the point? So
that is the thing.
Yeah, no, that's really awful. I'm really sorry that you went through that.
Horrible,
Sadly, London is a very big city, which means there are a lot of people and these awful things do happen. That is just a reality. And
London's always been a big city of a lot of people.
Which is exactly it. And I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head when you quoted those numbers.
Sex attacks has gone up since 1995.
But a lot of the others have come down overwhelmingly, which is really positive.
They don't. By the way, I reckon that the reason why there's less household thefts, again, we've got better alarm systems, is because basically what people used to nick a television, but now people have a phone which is worth more than the television, so they don't need to break into the house, they can just take the phone.
There's a lot of factors.
Yeah, look, I think that's fair as well. But the problem is, Adam, is you are looking at that long timeline. You are picking the point you like to create a favourable stat for you.
In the last 10 years.
Yes, but Kezia's gone back even further than that, and that has created a clear narrative. I will go back just the last year. Let's look at the really short term.
And that's why I said to you, things have got to level off or get better at some point.
Well, I tell you, I've got some good news for you. I'm full of good news today, mate. Right. They are getting better. Violent crime leading to injury, down 12% in the last 12 months. That's 9,000 fewer offences than otherwise could have happened. Same with expensive watches, expensive handbags, expensive jewellery. All of that is falling off a cliff. We are down 60, 70% on those thefts. Knife crime also down 7%.
One second. Do you think people are now more cautious? So before, maybe 2 years ago, people had their phones out a lot more, and I've noticed people are getting a lot more cautious.
Oh yeah, no,
around.
people are definitely
so
more
that
cautious.
might be the reason. There's less opportunities to steal from people.
I think that overall, people are not cautious in the way that would prevent it. We all walk around with our phones out, don't we? You can go out.
I don't.
You may not, which is very sensible. But if you stand outside any building in London, people have their phones out. What's happening is the Met is getting really serious about this. And look, my job is to hold the Met to account as a councillor. I have meetings with them and I hold their feet to the fire. So we are not necessarily in this together politically always. But I think on this, they're doing a really good job and I'm really heartened. The numbers are going down and we have to give them the credit where it's due.
But the thing is, though, there's still a knife crime in London every 30 minutes.
Yeah, and there should be no knife crime at all. I completely agree with you.
We're never going to get it to
no, but we should aspire to that.
Let's not pretend.
But let's pause. When things are good, when there is positive progress,
as I said,
we should be
happy
look,
about that. Over the last 10 years, the graph.
Why 10? Why have you chosen 10?
Well, okay.
Okay, no, 10 is actually a good one because that's
Well,
when
why?
mobile phones, people started having out mobile phones a lot more in their hands. That's when, you know, the crime came
Let's
up.
talk
a lot.
about phone snatching.
And that's
This is
basically been
really
how
important.
long the London Mayor is. You know, I do not like the London Mayor at all.
Who's Sir Sadiq Khan?
He focuses on things that are not important. He virtue signals about subjects that are not as important as crime and rape.
Well, as we just talked about, he's bringing down crime.
You will never get
How is he bringing down
an
crime?
interview with
As
Sadiq
I've
Khan on
just
rape.
explained to you, he has worked with the Met, taken big action against all of this. I've just read you the
But
data.
Adam's just showed you the
Crime's
last 10
falling-
years. So my data is from 1995, but his data is from the last 10 years. And
And
that's
it's
when
awful.
Sadiq Khan's been in charge.
So 9
It's
years,
around
right?
9 years,
2016.
okay, but let's
Yeah.
just say the majority of that 10 years has
Sure.
been under Sadiq Khan. And Adam's just shown you that crime's gone up. And you're saying, no, he's doing a good job on crime.
He's bringing crime.
The maths is not making sense
Well,
here.
look, crime is a patchwork of different things. So let's talk about phone snatching, for example, which, as we all know, has completely surged. It's got out of control. What I think is happening is these visible crimes are going up. Therefore, we all feel like crime in general.
Well, let's talk about rape. I've got 2 daughters. I've got a wife, a mother. Let's talk about one of the most important crimes in London,
Yeah.
which is rape
Yeah.
and sexual assault.
Yeah.
Why are they still going up?
I don't know, but if you look at the stats
But that
around
makes-
violence against
that
women,
makes it
the
dangerous,
majority
doesn't
of those are committed by people who are known to the victim.
And I'll tell you, 1 in 4 are committed by a foreign man.
Sorry,
As
say
well
that
in
again.
London. 1 in 4 sexual assaults is committed by a foreign-born man.
Okay, and what's your conclusion there?
We're importing a crime wave. So look, when we go back to immigration and we
Yeah.
come back to crime, it is related.
So foreigners are criminals?
No, it's not what he said.
Well, no,
in
I'm
four-
asking you, are foreigners criminals?
No, 1 in 4.
Disproportionately in this country,
Okay.
foreigners are raping women or sexually assaulting women more than native
So let me
Brits.
ask you this. What is so pure about the British-born
Nothing.
man that he is noble
Right,
and
and I think-
chivalrous and doesndoesn't rape women in the way that foreigners do, as you
Comes
said?
from a different culture.
Because foreign men can be avoided. We are letting too many people in this country illegally and on spurious visas to sexually assault our women and our girls.
So the British man is civilised and the
No,
foreigner is
I am saying-
uncivilised. Is that what you're saying?
I-
Because it sounds a lot like it, Adam.
Nice one, Sebastian.
Well, yes or no?
What I'm saying,
You haven't answered.
no, because you're saying silly things.
No, I'm
The
not.
foreign rapist
Yeah.
is avoidable, yes or no?
Is avoidable.
It's avoidable. It means he didn't have to come into the country. That's what he means when he says it's avoidable. You know what he means.
Yes, but when somebody comes into the country, you don't ask to see their card to show whether they're going to be a rapist or not.
Yeah, but we are.
We can't filter for people who are going to commit crimes in the future. That is a
But
that is
those
a
men,
big problem.
I think,
If you want to
and
talk about thought crimes,
Adam, are those men that are coming in, are they from Sweden, Norway,
No.
Japan?
a lot of the
Interesting.
sex
where
crimes.
do you think
I'm
they're from?
asking.
No, go on, say it. Say it.
I'm going to say this now.
Yeah.
A lot of the crimes we are seeing,
Yeah.
whether it be grooming
Okay,
or
stop
sexual
it.
assaults, calm yourself down, or rapes,
Yeah.
are coming from foreign men.
Yeah.
And
Which
a
ones?
large percentage of those foreign men
Yeah.
are from South Asian countries.
Here we go.
You have a
The Middle
different
East
perspective
Here we
or
on
go.
women.
African,
Okay.
which are totally different cultures from our own.
Yeah.
Right? This cannot be debated. Right? They have a different outlook on women.
Okay.
They treat, in many of these countries, treat our women like, treat their women like third-class citizens. Children and the attitudes to the age of consent and the age of marriage are completely different in many of those countries. So when you import those sort of men into this country, you're importing a different ideology when it comes to how you treat a woman, how you treat a child, or look at a child sexually. Okay, is that agreed or not?
So I would agree that if you move to this country, you have to integrate. That is a non-negotiable. You've got to learn the language and you've got to assimilate with the
What
culture.
has that got to do with sex crime?
What I don't think, and what I seem to be hearing from you, and please correct me if I'm wrong, because I really hope I am, is that what you're saying is that men from Asia and Africa and the Middle East are disproportionately rapists compared to British men.
In some countries, correct. And the stats prove that. If you look at, can I say the country? Or if you look at one of the countries that is predominantly, some stats
Yeah.
range from 5 times to 22 times.
Who?
No, because I've been...
Go on,
I'll say it in
Adam.
a
No,
minute.
come on. If you're going to make the point, make the point.
No?
He doesn't. You know what
I
he's
say-
talking about.
Well, no, let's be honest.
So
if we're going to
there
cast
is one
aspersions-
country,
yes,
there is
which
one
country?
right, which is known as a war zone. Right,
Yeah.
I've been told not to mention countries. Right.
Well, so why are you making this argument? If
This
you're
is by
gagging
me.
yourself,
Have that on me, okay?
Right.
I've asked him not
Right.
to.
Well, then why are we
yes or no?
gagging
Is there a
ourselves
country
here?
now that disproportionately the rates of sex crimes that come from that country and from people that are in this country now are between 5 times and 22 times more likely to commit a sex crime? Yes or no?
Yeah.
On arrests and police data.
which country? Don't keep me in the
I'll
dark
let
here. Don't
Kezia
keep
say
our
it.
viewers in the dark.
I'll let Kezia
Well,
say it.
actually,
Why
I'm
you-
thinking between 2 countries. One of them could be Afghanistan.
Okay, so Afghans are rapists. Is that our conclusion?
No.
Oh my God! Why would you? Look,
Most
you're a grown-up.
Most Afghans, of course, are
Let's not be
rapists.
childish here, and for the viewers.
But
right
we
now,
have,
it's been said.
we have our
Afga-
own problems in this
Right.
country, okay? We have our own criminals, our own homegrown white
Correct.
criminals. That's what you want me to
Afghan
say. Yes,
men
white
are
Anglo-Saxon
disproportionately
criminals.
committing sex crimes
But
in this country than British native men, and that is a fact, and that is backed up by data.
And if you go to Afghanistan,
Okay.
you'll understand why. Women are not allowed to speak in the street. They're not allowed to
You're
speak.
not going to catch me defending the Taliban, Kezia. Don't you worry yourself.
Right.
How
But
many
it's the
times more
average
likely?
man
Right.
there.
How many times more
Right,
likely?
I will tell you. In one study or one group of data set, they were 22 times more likely to be arrested for a sex crime than a Brit. Okay.
I
Now,
know
look,
the data set
and
you're talking about, and it's comparing false
Right.
pieces of
No,
data. So
it
that
is
has been
not.
completely debunked.
No, it has not been debunked.
Yes, it has been
Okay,
debunked.
there is another one that
You-
puts it
that-
at 5 times.
That data set
So
compares...
are you agreeing?
Hang on, Adam, because you've quoted
No.
a statistic to me, and it is
It's not been
complete
debunked. It has
poppycock.
not
Yes,
been.
it has,
It
because
has
that
not.
you can look it up. That uses certain data from one year, certain data from
that
another
is
year.
not
So
been debunked.
Sebastian, riddle me this.
Go on.
Why has rape gone up?
I don't know, and I'm
don't know.
devastated that
So-
it has.
But he's
I'm
given
devastated that it has.
a possible reason, and you're just going, I don't know.
I'm not so lazy-minded.
I think he's done his
Also
research,
willing
actually.
as to park our rape problem in this country at the
I'm
door
telling
of
But if
you.
they're
foreigners.
telling you that 1
It
in
is
4...
very convenient
but
to say
no,
that.
but if the facts are that 1 in 4 of these rapists are foreign-born, why are you so quick to dismiss that? Because it doesn't fit in with your narrative?
No, because I haven't seen that statistic. If that turns out to be true, then yes, we have a
is true.
problem. But
That
I
is
haven't
true.
seen that statistic,
Okay.
so in good faith,
But
I
one
can't
thing I
speak
will
to
say,
it.
Kezia, just to part this now, it's common sense that if you have a man that has come from a mountain village in
Common
Afghanistan,
sense, Adam, please.
Right, please.
What does that mean?
right? If you have a man, that's
Common
come,
sense is a precursor to say
If you
the
have a
next thing I
man-
say is going to be completely made up, but trust me.
no, this is common sense. If you have a man
Common sense? What does that
from
mean?
a village in
Are you
Afghanistan,
You're
seriously
actually
taking
asking
part?
what common sense
Right.
is?
Yes, because I
careful.
One
I live
second.
in a world of facts and logic.
Right, so I'm going to tell you
Common
now.
sense is
If you
completely
come
different
from-
to
if you come
everybody.
from
It is a
village-
subjective notion.
If you come from a far out rural village in Afghanistan,
Yeah.
and you have never seen women with their skin exposed, you have never seen blonde women, you have never seen young girls in short skirts.
Why do you hate
is it a
immigrants
surprise?
so much, Adam? You
Is
spend
it-
so much time
is it a
talking
surprise?
down immigrants.
Is it a surprise
You
that
could
when
have been
they come
born there. It was a complete
when they come
accident
to
that you
this
were born
country
here.
that they cannot control themselves? Is that a shock? No, it's not, Kezia, because they have never seen these type of girls, these type of clothes, and this sort of behaviour.
It's just
At
such
the end of the
deeply
day,
xenophobic language,
So,
Adam.
I-
Listen
He's
to
not
yourself.
saying all of them.
I
He's
live
not
2
saying all of
minutes
them.
from Epping, where a 14-year-old girl was sexually assaulted by a man from Ethiopia. Okay, he could not control himself around young schoolgirls. I have so many parents that have come to me and said that these foreign men over the summer and before were harassing, following schoolgirls.
Yeah, and one was
why?
caught masturbating outside my
Right.
son's school.
Which is terrible. All
Right.
of what
But
you're
we never
saying.
have-
Do
but
not
we never
terrible.
heard of
That is
these
a
things
cultural
before.
thing where they have not seen these type of girls and not
We
seen.
have a lot of sex criminals in this country who were born here.
So when I was growing up in the 90s, of course
Yeah.
there was always rapists and there was, sexual crime. But it was always kind of like, it was like late at night. It was in an alleyway
No, that's a
somewhere.
complete myth.
And,
That's
and
not
now
how it
it
happens.
wasn't in libraries at 4 o'clock in the
Which is
afternoon.
terrible.
But it doesn't matter if it's terrible.
But
this
the majority,
is
and I'm telling you,
happening.
the majority of these kinds of attacks happen between people who know each other. It's ex-partners.
But we're not
You
talking
look at
about
domestic-
those
Yes, we
people.
are, because we're talking
No,
about
we're
sexual
not.
violence, and
We're-
that is the majority.
Right.
If this is sexual violence, this majority of it is these people who know
every
each
day
other.
on my Instagram
You can't
account,
ignore it.
every
You don't
day
use
on
this
my
as a
Instagram-
vehicle to attack immigrants.
Every day on my Instagram account, I am posting a sexual attack or a sex crime from an asylum seeker,
And
whether
for
it's an
each of
arrest
those,
or
there is
whether
an
it is
order
a
of
conviction.
magnitude more by British men. So please don't ignore that. Please don't give them the free pass. They don't deserve it.
Are they British men?
Are
they British men or men who have got British passports after being here for about 10 years?
Both.
I'd like to
really
know that.
Reject this notion
Right,
that white British men are somehow morally pure,
No, they're not.
sexually chaste, and everybody else is some kind of
who are white and British.
fawn.
The ones who are white and British who are rapists. That's our problem. That's our problem. We've got enough of them as it is, maybe. We don't need to import.
An hour ago.
Why are you excusing them then? You're both glossing over this problem as if it doesn't matter.
I'm not. They should go to prison.
Exactly. So then why aren't we talking about that more? Why aren't we talking about domestic violence?
Personally, my personal anecdote is that it has been foreign men.
Sky News has just broke a story 2 hours ago, which I've just screenshot and put on my Instagram, about 7 people have been charged in the Bristol area for grooming and sex crimes against young girls. Now, they are Syrians and they are Iranians and they are Brits, right, as well, amongst that. That is another imported sex crime. And it is happening every day, Sebastian.
And that is terrible. Let's be really clear. That is a terrible thing for them to do. And they must face justice for it.
So
there are an order of magnitude more British men doing the same thing. And the problem is, Adam, you never talk about it.
I do talk about it.
You never talk about it.
If you look at my Twitter account, I spoke about one earlier. Okay.
Every time we've been on together,
so I know, I recognise that those.
You seize this issue. You use this as a platform
because it's a big
issue.
I
recognise that those really like the worst type of paedophilia out there, that those baby pedo rings are mainly white. Okay, and I do make a point of that, but we're not importing it
because it's an 84% white country, right? But just so you know, just so you know, my last tweet was about an NHS executive, 51 from Leicestershire, jailed for 28 years for grooming schoolgirls on Snapchat.
Good.
28 years. What have I put there? That was my last tweet. Good. That's more like it. 28 years, thumbs up. Oh, he's not foreign.
You're being very selective, aren't you?
No, what Sebastian's trying to do is paint me as a racist.
He's not, he's just showing you.
I've not used that word. Don't put words in my mouth, Adam. That's incredibly out of order.
You are trying
to not use that word.
You are trying to paint to the audience that I am
You're
only
alluding to it.
Because you've talked about a catalogue of foreign offenders, which is, let's be clear,
one in
a
four
massive
sexual
problem.
crimes, right, in London or this country is by
Which
foreign.
one? London or this country?
I'll have to double check.
Okay, so you've just given me a stat and you can't tell me what it is.
Well, I'll tell you exactly.
But in the meantime, you just haven't told me how Sadiq Khan has done anything good about the London crime wave. I'm still waiting for that answer from you.
I've quoted you.
You're a Labour councillor.
I've quoted you the stats, Kezia, to say that the crime is coming down.
What's he done?
And I've told you about the Met operations.
So what? The only time
I've answered that question. That's the third time I've mentioned that.
I go to a local park, and I see drug deals taking place. I've had men try and... one man he wanted to kill me because he thought I was a rival gang member. He was clearly on drugs. And it's very unsafe for me to go there now. And the one time I did see the police there, they were stopping women because their dogs weren't on leads, their chihuahuas weren't on leads. That's the people that I always see them targeting. People for just such petty, nothing kind of...
Was that police or was that...
It was police.
Police.
They were in a van stopping every single woman who didn't have her Pomeranian on a leash. I was like, can you just look over there and see that there are men literally doing drug deals in broad daylight? They're targeting, I think, a lot of the time the wrong people, and motorists are getting targeted a lot. And I wonder if when you look and think, OK, crime's coming down, it's only because they're targeting motorists so much.
Motorists? I mean, I'm talking to you about violent crime here that's come down. I'm talking to you about the murder rate.
I'll tell you what has gone up.
About stolen watches, jewellery, handbags.
But apparently that's a fake train you're in.
Right, so every time, listen, we've both worked on GB News. I get the Central Line. When I say nearly every train I get on looks like downtown Bronx when I get on, the trains are filled with graffiti. Okay.
This is a really weird one.
I document this
I believe
every time I go. And I actually, last week, I found one with no graffiti. And I actually put it up and said, look, I found one. Shock, right? Because, not saying you...
Sadiq Khan cleaned that one himself.
Right, so many lefties have their head in the sand and think that I've AI'd that.
No, I can tell you why it's happening. I know why this is happening.
Right.
Because my experience is the complete opposite. I've never seen graffiti on the tube. And I just think, and this is a complete guess, so I might be fully wrong here, I just think it's where they're parked at night. Some of them sit in outside depots where they're easier to graffiti than others. And that's why we live these alternate realities. But I think both of our...
we're facing the highest tube fares I've ever paid in my life, and people that struggle in life are paying the highest tube fares ever.
Do you ever say anything positive, Adam? You've sat here for 45 minutes and moaned.
So
say something good. Right. Say something positive.
So no, at the moment, this is the facts for the people there. With the highest tube fares we've ever faced, and we're sitting amongst graffiti and dirt and
I just think it's.
I think if we weren't paying a lot, fine, but we are paying so much.
Why is that okay? And it's the.
Do you know why? It's because the last Tory government held TfL hostage essentially, and was controlling what money they could have. TfL has been completely underinvested
Tories and
because the
Labour,
money from
same
central
thing.
government never
Same
came.
thing.
Tories have
you
been
may
out,
well believe that.
The Tories have been out
don't.
18 months. Now, graffiti has got worse in the last 18 months.
Oh, God, Adam, say something positive.
No,
but show us you've got a heart.
Now, this is the broken window theory.
Yes.
Because if police
you need to have zero tolerance.
authorities are allowing things like graffiti to get worse and worse, it makes other crimes
I'm just not going to sit here and let you take pot shots at the greatest city in the world.
Wait,
I absolutely adore living
listen,
here.
excuse me.
This country is
great.
this
city in the
city
world
is
that has a
great.
rate
No.
over
I
our
live in one of the nicest boroughs of London, okay? All I see is men on electric bikes with Hamas black-style masks on, going up and down on the pavement.
What's a Hamas mask?
You know what the Hamas wear, those black masks over their face? It looks like that.
What, do you mean a bandana?
It's not a bandana. It's like a black mask that they wear. Men never used to wear black masks in the street, walking around London.
You've said it's a Hamas mask.
It looks like a Hamas mask.
Why did you choose Hamas?
Because they're the ones that always have militant style
Are you suggesting
masks.
that these men have anything to do with Hamas?
No, they don't.
Okay, so
they're probably
why did you use that
sympathetic to
word?
them. They're probably sympathetic
so
to them.
Okay, well, that's completely baseless, isn't it, Kezia? You've made that up.
Well,
that's come out of your head.
I would push comes to shove, I think
it's entirely confected.
Sebastian,
come on, guys.
But anyway, don't get to my point. When I was young, excuse me, I've lived in London all my life. Have you?
I've lived here since 2013, and I've loved every second of it.
I've lived here since 1980, okay? And
so you'll know how much better it's got.
Are you joking?
Really? You've just quoted me the stats. You've told me how much crime has come down
since
1995.
We were living in a utopia in London in the 1980s.
Why was there so much crime?
I'm putting that out there, but I never experienced crime.
And this is exactly what I'm saying.
We never had men going around with black masks.
Excuse me,
we never had men going around with black masks, zooming through people and taking people's watches and taking people's phones from them. I never experienced that. I'm seeing it all the time.
Okay, Kezia, I'm going to repeat a point I've made earlier because it's important.
I'm just telling you my personal experience of living in London longer than you, and as a woman, who's never been sexually assaulted until recently. Okay, I've been in some pretty bad positions before, but not being sexually assaulted in a library at 4 o'clock in front of my son. Okay, these are all new. This is all something new that's happening.
That's terrible. What you've gone through is terrible.
You keep
but
saying
what you can't do, because it's true and it bears repeating, what you can't do is use anecdotal evidence as a broader analysis of the city. You have to look at the data. You showed me the data. I really appreciated you doing that. I think it was a really smart way to start this interview. Hang on, mate. We're just having a conversation.
One rape reported every hour, yes or no?
To use that data to paint a picture.
I want to keep it fair, but my personal anecdote is that I felt a lot safer, even as an 18-year-old guy used to get on the tube and nothing ever happened. You'd have 1 or 2 incidences, but not like this. I wasn't.
This is what's so important. You've touched on.
Men have got their faces covered, but
point.
you're laughing about my point about Hamas-style masks. But I'm making a point here is that if your face is covered and you're going up and down on bikes, it creates great anxiety.
That is valid. That is completely valid.
I felt anxious walking around London. I never used to feel anxious.
Please let me make this point because it's so important. I think you'll all agree with me. It is about perception of crime. If you poll people on how much crime they think there is, they think there's so much more. That's why Adam says the things he does. The reality is, it is better than we think it is. But that doesn't mean it's not. Well, you couldn't tell me whether it was for London or for Britain. You've not quoted me a single stat you could back up. Perception of crime is really important. We have to take it seriously.
Men should not be going around in masks. It never used to happen.
The point is we have to address your fears. If you feel unsafe in London, whether there is a credible threat to you or not, that is important, and that is something that politicians have to take seriously.
And I'm moving out.
Right,
and I'm really sorry to see you go.
Data from the Ministry of Justice obtained under Freedom of Information laws basically show 1 in 4.
Hang on, mate. That says 15%.
No, because if you then go down to the caveat, there's also 8% where their nationality is unknown or not put down. If they was British, okay, they would be put down as British. Okay. You only need to go back.
What year is that from?
This was last year.
From 2021 to 23.
I've got no service here at all. right?
So you're making up numbers.
1 in 4
you're
sexual
adding up
offences.
imaginary numbers.
1 in 4 sexual offences are committed by non-Brits.
Adam, you're reading that off Darren Grimes' Facebook
my
page.
God.
Please, if you're going to quote me stats, make sure they're not ones that are invented.
This was an article for the viewers at home. This was an article from the Daily Telegraph. Should the Daily Telegraph be believed?
They need to be interrogated because they twist things. I read the Telegraph
Ministry
every day,
of Justice
and you
data
have to be forensic.
from the police. Listen, I tweeted this at the time. This is Ministry
That may
of
well
Justice.
be. But you've just showed it to me. It's from a few years ago. You're adding up two numbers.
It's not from a few years ago.
You've added
It's
up
from
two
this year,
numbers.
he said. But you're dismissing this. You're dismissing my personal experiences.
I'm not
as a
dismissing.
woman.
I've just
You've
told
been
you,
very
Kezia,
sympathetic, but at the
repeatedly,
same
it's incredibly
time,
valid.
it's like you keep
2024
saying
and
things are better.
2025.
But they
telling
are.
me things are
You
better.
read me the statistics. You read them to me.
Yes, but
Of course
I've
they're
explained
better.
each one why things got better. So,
No,
for
you
instance,
guessed.
there's
You
okay,
guessed.
but I
No,
felt safer as a woman in the 90s.
Exactly. Perception of crime. That is
No,
important.
no.
That is
Right.
important.
I told you the statistic. Sex crimes have gone up. I
Yes,
said that was the one
problem.
thing that's really
Agreed.
gone up. So as a
Problem.
woman in London,
Yeah.
I feel less safe.
Right.
And
Th-
I've got
th- this
I've
is-
got statistics to prove it.
Big problem. Completely agree
So
with
it's
you.
not all in my head
No,
and perceived.
that's not in your head. That is
Okay,
a problem.
fine.
So just to
something.
finish this off, it was the BBC that reported that one rape is reported every hour
Yeah, I'm not
in
doubting
London,
that.
right?
Problem. Also
So
a problem.
is that the greatest city in the world?
London is the greatest city in the
For
world.
a man, maybe. Not
No.
for a woman.
I live with my partner. She's a woman. She experiences London as a woman, as you do.
Would you feel
That's
safe?
not rosy at all.
Would you
That
feel
is-
safe?
You've got to
having
take
your-
a lot of precautions.
Would you feel safe having your partner walk around London at night? Yes or no?
She came home at 3 a.m. last night, Adam, so I'll answer that one for you.
So are you comfortable with that? Yes or no?
Does she walk back home or take public transport?
She does a mixture of both.
Last night, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Well,
I
it would have
presume
been
she
an
took a
Uber
taxi.
last night.
Well,
if
there
it
you
was
go.
3 a.m.
That's
But
me.
no, she's a musician. She regularly works until 11 or 12, and she regularly takes the tube home. If she is comfortable with that, then I am too. Now,
so
look,
you're not
does she-
worried about her. With the stats that we've shown, one rape reported every hour, are you comfortable with your partner coming home at that sort of time on the tube?
Well, she does every day because she works at late. That's her choice.
Sorry
She's
to say,
gonna-
but it just takes one time.
Of course
takes
it does.
one time. Just be
Of course
careful
it does.
there. Just
Look,
be careful.
I want her to be safe. I want her to take precautions, as we all should.
So does that mean we're the greatest city in the world? Yes or
Why
no?
are we the greatest city in the world? Why, the parks are nice? What is it?
London's the greatest city in the
Why-
world. It's got
why?
everything.
Like what?
It's got
Like rape?
everything.
Yeah, what else?
It's got all
Yeah.
the shops you could ever want,
Congestion
all
charges.
the restaurants you could ever
So
want,
does
all
Paris.
the green
So does
spaces.
Paris.
So does New
No.
York.
So does Milan. Yes, I've been to these places.
So have I,
used to
mate,
live
but-
in Paris. They have
Yeah.
lovely parks. They've got better shops than
And
we
you're
have.
talking to me about sexual violence in Paris.
Yes, and we've got the same. That's what I'm trying to say. So when I say what is so amazing about London, you're just telling me it's got nice shops, it's got nice parks.
It is a gorgeous
can't really
hodgepodge
enjoy-
of people from all
Right.
over
You
the
can't
world.
enjoy
The
those, but I
diversity
can't
is
even go to my
incredible.
local
We're the phone
park.
snatching capital of Europe. Does that make us the greatest city in the world?
So phone snatching comes back to the thesis that I'm trying to put to you about visible crime.
So does that make us the greatest city in the world?
So hang on, I'm sensing a theme here. You're going to say, here's a bad thing. Does that make us the greatest city in the world?
Well, I'm
That's
saying-
not
I've
really a way to
asked
build
you
a
what
credible
makes us the
argument.
best city in the
And
world.
I
You just
told
say
you,
parks
it's
and
the
shops.
culture, it's the shops, it's the people, it's the languages, it's the food, it's the green spaces, it's
the
everything. It's the
graffiti trains,
history.
it's
The
the
vape
rape every
shops, don't
hour.
forget the vape
Am I the only
shops.
person with anything positive to say today? Do you all just want to dunk on London? I mean,
I
you
like
don't even live in
Londoners.
London.
I just
I
don't
like
like
Londoners.
a false narrative being.
I love
being-
Londoners.
Yeah, I love
I
Londoners.
love Londoners.
And when I move, I'm going to really miss Londoners. Okay, I
Exactly.
think most Londoners are really cool and interesting
This is-
people.
I want
so
to
I'm
be
saying something
buried in this
positive
city.
about London.
Thank you. I appreciate
Okay.
that.
Now, my last question is, what is the solution for, okay, you believe there's more crime in London than you do, but what would be your solution to get a grip on, if you were mayor for the day, if you were mayor, for 5 years?
I'm a knife crime campaigner,
Okay.
have been for years.
This is the biggest problem you see.
My dad was murdered by a machete gang.
Oh, I'm sorry. I had
so
no idea.
That was
Sorry.
30 odd,
Goodness.
odd years ago. But look, at the end of the day, knife crime is an epidemic, especially in London. It's out of control, and it might have dipped off a little bit at the moment, but we have men walking about with machetes, swords and zombie knives that get caught and arrested 2 or 3 times and given suspended sentences by our Liberal judges. At the end of the day, myself and former police officer Norman Brennan have campaigned and will do again for 5-year mandatory sentences. We need deterrence now to put real criminals in prison, not people that tweet hurty words. We need people that wave machetes about, look, we had a guy that waved a kitchen knife at someone that was burning a religious book the other day. He waved it near his face, he kicked him down, he spat on him, he was given a suspended sentence. We had a guy in a North London supermarket that racially abused workers, waved a huge kitchen knife and was given a suspended sentence. So we wonder why crime is out of control when we don't have deterrent. So as mayor, if I was mayor, I would campaign for increased stop and search. Our current mayor wanted that reduced over racial fears, even though the crime stats prove that it is black men that predominantly stab people and kill people and get killed in London. We need to up stop and search, we need to up deterrence, and we need more visible police on the streets. And then you would see crime come down. We also need to educate the young. I think COVID-style campaigns like we see in all the magazines, on the radio, on the telly, the consequences of crime. I would like every school to maybe visit a prison for once in their school year to scare kids, even have a mock-up prison cell, say you're going to be in this for 5 years if you do this. That will bring down crime. And that's what I would do if I was mayor or an MP.
Creative, have to say. And what about your solution?
Yeah, do you know what? I like the prison idea. That happened to me as a child. I was shown a prison and I was struck by how tiny it is and how horrible it is. And God, I was terrified after that.
Consequences.
I was a goody two-shoes, so there was never any risk. But
I never would have guessed.
No, me neither. So apart from stealing Adam's idea, what else have you got?
Yeah, no, I think it's about going back to an age where there are bobbies on the beat and they're people that you know. One of the issues in the Met is the turnover is very high. And I'd like to see a culture in the Met where police are encouraged to stay in jobs and we get to know them. And that's not just residents, that's councillors as well, and we build relationships with them. Because there is a sense when there are no police around that you can do things and get away with them. And that has been the case for a long time. So I'd like to see continued investment in the police force and also that cultural change where they can
would you up stop
stick
and
around
search?
for a bit. No, because I speak to my friends who are people of colour and what they tell me about stop and search.
You know what? If someone said to me, women who look like me with green eyes, my colour hair, there's like a murder wave going on of women that look like me, I would be fine to be stopped and searched based on that.
If you've got nothing to hide, why would you?
I'd be like, okay, let's just sort this out. The most important thing right now.
Have you ever been stopped and searched?
Nope.
Yeah, so I mean, I haven't either, but I'm going by what they tell me, and it's really unpleasant to hear. And I don't want to. I
don't think it is pleasant. Of course not.
No, but you don't want to live in a culture where you think you might be unfairly as well.
I understand
and we talk a lot about lack of trust in the police.
We talk about
there is a lot of lack of trust.
We can quickly go on that,
and I think it's quite fair. And we have to fight against that. And the problem is, if you bring back stop and search, you erode that trust again, and you're making backwards progress.
Black men are predominantly committing the knife crime and the knife murders in London. Is it racist to target known groups of black men?
This is the problem. Known groups. If it's somebody who you know is in a gang, yes.
Right?
Fine. Perfectly fine.
Or walking up in an aggressive manner in a high road, is that racist to stop and search that black man or man of colour?
So if you have intelligence against someone, it doesn't matter
what if the person's acting aggressively or unhinged?
Or whatever.
Oh, yeah. Look, if they are posing a threat to someone, of course. But my friends, well-dressed, well-spoken,
I like to go on
nice
stats,
people,
as you know.
Get stopped and searched.
Right.
And
so
there's a real
I
problem
believe
there.
it's around 62% of knife murders in London are perpetrated by black men. And yet they only, I think, make up 7 or 8% of London population. So that is a terrible, terrible, disproportionate amount of knife crimes from one specific group. And now I work with people in the black community. However people may want to try and paint me as, I work with key figures in the black community that want me to say these sort of things because they do not want black people to be killed. And it's disproportionately black men that are killed by knives as well in London. So by tackling this and by doing stop and searching, we're saving black lives. And for me, that is a good thing. I don't know about you.
Well, let's bring it full circle, because you've argued against ID cards because you don't want a surveillance state. And the problem is, if we stop and search, what are we doing? We are surveying people, we are stopping them, we are invading their privacy, we are forcing them to reveal what they have inside them. So I think there is a fundamental contradiction in what you're arguing for. If you don't want digital ID, then you sure as God do not want increased stop and search.
That is preposterous.
Okay,
It's just
to make your
that's
final
preposterous.
point. Okay.
You cannot control a group of people if they don't have a digital ID. I can't stop them travelling.
Okay, so you don't want
stop and
someone to have digital ID on their pocket, but you think the police should be able to go up to anybody and say, empty your pockets,
No, he said
show
if
what
he's
you've got.
unhinged, he said
them.
if the person's unhinged or acting in a
But
certain
this is
way,
the problem.
aggressive
This is
way.
the problem. Most of the time they are not, to use
if
your language,
I'm walking around
unhinged.
unhinged, talking to myself, and I look like I look aggravated, I think the police should stop me too. Yes, because I'm a smaller
But this is
person.
the problem.
There's
Most
only
people
so much
who are getting
damage I
stopped and
can
searched
do.
are not like that. They are normal people like you and me, and they're
most
having their
people
privacy
you will stop
invaded
and
by
There
the
probably are,
police.
yes, it probably does
That's the
happen.
problem.
The most people you stop and search will be of the demographic that are committing the most crimes.
And if I am a normal black man who's just going about my life,
acting fine,
yes, acting
you
fine.
should not be
Yeah,
stopped.
exactly.
But
You
that's
should
the
not
problem. You're saying that
If
they are within the demographic.
If you're walking down the high road with a severe attitude, being a little bit threatening, I want my police officers to say, excuse me, can we just pat you down?
And I'd want that for a white man also.
Yeah, exactly that.
Look, I think if someone's being threatening, then yeah, definitely stop them. But
Right.
if they're just giving you a little, feel,
Can we agree that stop and search in certain London boroughs should be upped on
No.
behaviour? Okay.
No, we can't, because I think that's completely at odds with your position.
You
on
two are
digital
never
ID.
going to agree.
There's a beautiful
I'm
contradiction.
going to give
in
my
there.
solution to end this.
Go on.
Okay, so my solution would be stop targeting drivers so much. Stop targeting kids playing ball games in parks. Yes, they get tired. Do you know how many times I've had to deal with the police because they said your son's kicked the football here or there? What a waste of time that is. Stop targeting social media posts. Stop targeting people who don't have their dogs on leads unless they're extremely dangerous dogs. And start concentrating more on antisocial behaviour, drug dealing, robberies from shops, or if it's being committed by masked men on bikes, and knife crime. I think we'll have a happier...
Just one thing.
City Hall, here we come.
We're getting suspended sentences for people with machetes, yet someone for a low-level fraud might be in for 2 or 3 years. Who poses a greater risk to the public, the machete carrier or the low-level fraud?
No, I think that's fair enough.
Yeah.
they agree on something. We have to end
I
it
think we
there,
should be really
guys.
serious about knife crime.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us on the show, and thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next show.